featuring episode 257.
That's right. This is a podcast for people who are new to the game of Magic, who are looking to improve their game of Magic, or just want to be more involved in the Magic community, or have a real weird time.
I'm one of your hosts, Maria.
I'm another one of your hosts, Megan.
And once again, we are recording from two separate parts of the globe.
That's right. They're not super far apart, but they're far enough apart.
Far enough apart. Thankfully, we have technology called the energy of the air to send our essences through a slipstream of time to communicate with one another.
It's
a science fact.
It makes me feel a little strange. Like whenever, do you ever have it when we're done doing this, like where it's just sort of like it's not like jet lag, but it's like, transporting your essence through time lag.
Oh, absolutely. After this, my essence is going to be like half on the floor.
It really takes it out of you, man.
Literally. And on today's episode, we're going to be talking about a whole bunch of stuff as we kind of wind down 2017 and say sayonara, you piece of garbage year. And we've got like exciting things on the horizon for 2018. We're going to dip into our mailbag. Megan's got a story time. There's new Rivals of Ixalan previews, at least one that we want to talk about with a brand new keyword for Rivals of Ixalan. We've got goals we've got to set for 2018. And then we're going to do a little brief chat about legacy. So if that word kind of gives you hives like me, we're going to give you kind of a mini primer on legacy and what you can expect kind of coming up, because there's a Grand Prix that's going to feature legacy coming up in the start of January. It's a whole lot of stuff.
And another one in April. So you really got to know your legacy stuff coming up. It's like, hey, what's wrong with you? Oh, I've just got the legacy hives, man.
Yeah, and I've definitely had the legacy hives the past couple of days here in Minnesota. I've quarantined myself off in our podcasting room. I've put up sheets of plastic. It's like E.T. up in here.
Why did you put up the sheets of plastic? It's already just a room with a door.
I didn't want to chance any passers-by poking their heads in and potentially becoming infected.
Fair enough. I've heard that once you've got the legacy hives, they stick around for a good long time.
They stick around for a while. Yeah. And once you've got them,
it's rough.
There's no cure. There's no cure known except vintage, apparently. But before we start,
I heard that she got over the legacy hives, but God, then she got the vintage hives, and what are we gonna do?
It's a gateway disease. You've heard of gateway drugs. Gateway disease. Yeah. Is there such a thing as a gateway disease?
I'm pretty sure there is.
There probably
At least I can think of one. Yeah.
You can even think of like you have a cold and then you're more likely to get something like pneumonia. This is not a medical podcast. I don't even know why I'm going down this street.
I don't know either. Like pneumonia isn't in and of itself like its own disease, really, right? Pneumonia is the thing that you get when your body isn't able to handle some amount of shit that it's already trying to deal with, and it can't, and it's like, oh god, now I've also got pneumonia.
All I know is that pneumonia's got a silent P at the start of it, like it's really cool, and I'm like, whatever, pneumonia. Just because you have a silent P doesn't mean you're all that in a bag of chips. Yeah,
that's right. I would say that most people who have pneumonia would not say that it is all that.
No, certainly not.
They would say that it is, at best, a rough experience.
Yeah. At best, a rough experience. Magic the Amateuring. New catchphrase. Before we dive into all the awesome stuff that's coming up on the show, let's say a quick thank you to everybody who supports the podcast on patreon.com/MTAcast.
That's right. Thank you so much to everyone who makes the podcast.
The podcast
possible, whether it is as little as $1 an episode that you're donating or something more than that. It means so much to us. Like, seriously, every single patron of ours is just like a little constellation and its own little star in my personal night sky.
Oh, yeah, 100%. And for sure, there is a planet that circles you, the star of our hearts, that is capable of supporting life on Earth. So when we have destroyed this home of ours, we can find a new home on the planet which circles you. And
each of you is a star with a planet that can support life.
You know who
Magic
else is
the
a star?
Amateuring.
Card Kingdom. CardKingdom.com/MTAcast.
Right.
Woohoo!
Some of the biggest stars in the magic item. Oh God, constellation. I'm really doing great.
They are though. I mean,
they are. They're so spectacular. Do you know what? If you were going to have a constellation that you named Constellation Card Kingdom, the stars that make it up would be incredible people that work there. They would be the fastest shipping in the West. They would be just like a spectacular selection of things that you want to get. So you're getting a real Orion's Belt situation, except it's the Constellation Card Kingdom. Do you know what? It's not even a constellation.
That the people of Rivals of Ixalan and Ixalan use to navigate. That's how good their constellation is.
It's not even a constellation. It's better. It's an asterism, which is something like Orion's Belt that you can see with your eyes standing on Earth. You don't even need a telescope. You look up in the sky and you're like, Orion's Belt. There
it is. The first cut, the little known fact, the first cut of Men in Black, Orion's Belt was not what they talked about. It was, in fact, the Card Kingdom constellation. But they had to change it for script writing, blah, blah, blah. But that's how good Card Kingdom is. Go to cardkingdom.com/MTAcast if you want to buy anything awesome from them, or any cards, any battle decks, these kinds of things, so they know that you are a friend of MTAcast.
Speaking of Men in Black, yesterday I met someone who used to be Tommy Lee Jones's personal chef.
Wait, you didn't tell me you had Tommy Lee Jones news for this episode.
I forgot. Anyways.
Wow. So now this is like your third run-in kind of with Tommy Lee Jones in your life?
Yeah, this is like, you know, the two degrees of separation.
Yeah.
But it is, yes, I have seen in person Tommy Lee Jones twice. And now I have met the person who used to be his personal chef.
Do you feel like you have a personal connection with Tommy Lee Jones? You know
what?
Maybe he doesn't know about.
He seems really grumpy, so I'm going to go with no.
Okay, sure. I just feel like this is just a high volume. This is a high number.
It is. But, you know, San Antonio, it's got some celebrities to its name. That's one of them.
Tommy Lee Jones.
Yeah. Tommy Lee Jones. This has been your Tommy Lee Jones update.
It's time for a quick dip into our mailbag.
That's right, Maria. This is a great question.
Yeah,
I really enjoy this question.
Props to the person who asked this question. If you want to ask us a question, it's open to patrons on our Discord chat, which you get access to when you're a patron at patreon.com/MTAguest. And this one is from Friendly Local. Here you go. If you were travel agents, how would you pitch the locations on the Fliplands to people looking to take a vacation? Wow, great question. Okay, so we have pulled up a list of all the flip cards in Ixalan, and we're going to go through them and give you our pitch. So if you want to pack up your bags, if you've been looking for a vacation, we've got some options for you.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll start out with the Temple of Aclazotz. Do you know what? If this is for the most adventurous amongst travelers. So if you feel like you've got a lot of gumption and get up and go, then this temple is for you, because you're going to get to explore some recently rediscovered architecture. And let me tell you, the artistry on it is just spectacular. It's just spectacular. Plus you're gonna get to look at some premium bloodstains, which is not something that every location can offer. So it's not for the faint-hearted amongst you.
If you're looking for somewhere to watch the sunset in a glorious manner, perhaps check out Conqueror's Foothold. Not only will you see a rainbow-filled sky with a sun as golden as a newborn daisy, but you'll also stay in one of our luxury palace rooms. Check out the tower for the mere cost of $2,050 a night. You can see all of Ixalan's fish jumping in the waters. Are they fish or are they merfolk? You can go down to our beaches for a morning mimosa and find out for yourself. Conqueror's Foothold, $2,500 a night.
If you grew up watching The Land Before Time, if you wished that you could rediscover films from your childhood in all of their glory, do you know what? This land isn't illustrated. It is Itlamok, Cradle of the Sun, and it just might be the vacation for you if you're looking for a place to roam amongst towering dinosaurs or to enjoy the lush vegetation that there is to offer. Hey, come on down to the Cradle of the Sun.
If you are the kind of person who just wants to get away from it all, including other people and civilization entirely, you might want to check out Lost Vale. We'll give you a knife and say, good luck, idiot. Here's your vacation. Try to come back. Lost Vale. Not only will you be lost, but so will all of your hope. Lost Vale. Check it out.
Good luck, idiot. There's a vacation I'd go on.
Oh, yeah. Here's a knife and just go for it. You know what?
Just
see if you can
get
survive.
on out there.
That's like a vacation for rich people who have too much money.
Yeah. Hey, are you a big history buff? Or do you know someone who is? Then Adanto the First Fort is the vacation spot for you. You'll get to rediscover all of the militaristic origins of Ixalan's most militaristic people, the vampires. Come on down to Adanto the First Fort. You can look at banners, flags, swords, armor, horses, and other stuff.
Hey,
it's like a slice right out of history. Go ahead,
oh wait,
sorry.
What'd you say?
I said it's a slice right out of history.
Hey, are you upset with the water pressure in your current shower head? Well, guess what? Have we got the place to clean your innards and your outards? It's Primal Wellspring. It's not really so much a vacation destination as a giant shower. But who doesn't need a shower after tromping through the miles and miles of weird kind of like jungle that you're going to see? Well, you will need it. You will need it. The setting only goes up to 10 and it's going to probably drown you. Primal Wellspring. Check it out.
Hey, have you ever read a Jane Austen novel and thought, what's the big deal with Bath? Then, Azcanta the Sunken Ruin is the place for you, because this is like Bath times 10. It's not some weird old water contaminated with who knows how many thousands of people bathing in it over the course of time. No, in Azcanta the Sunken Ruin, you're guaranteed to be one of only a handful of bathers who have ever made it there.
Wow, that sounds great. I want to go there.
Honestly, of all the places that we've looked at, it's like one of the nicest.
Yeah, that one's going to be great. Well, how about this one?
Good.
Are you tired of sitting on a chair that's comfortable? Why not sit on a giant pokey spire? Spires of Oraska could be the place for you. You can climb up to the top if you're somebody who likes to do those cave walls in various gyms and look like really cool with your carabiners. Spires of Oraska is the place that you can check out, climb to the tippy top, take a view of all of Azcanta. I mean, Ixalan, or whatever. Oh no, I feel like I let a secret slip. Oh, is that where Azcanta is? I don't know. That's a sales tactic. Boom.
Hey, do you need a little bit of an objective when it comes to your vacations? Are you bad at relaxing with no purpose in sight? Well, then Treasure Cove is the place for you, because while you're enjoying the sunshine, the beaches, and the beautiful palm trees, you're also going to be able to search for giant boxes full of gold coins. Treasure Cove.
Wow, I need that vacation.
I know, right? Just make all your money back.
That sounds great. And finally, are you the kind of human being that likes fire? A pyromaniac, for example, or somebody that just likes to be warm. Spitfire Bastion could be the place where you want to end up. You'll have control of a fire cannon. If that kind of thing gets your gears running hot, well, consider taking a trip to the Bastion, where you can launch fiery cannonballs at your enemies and take a dip in our lava baths. Spitfire Bastion, you'll probably end up with third-degree burns.
Can we appreciate the fact that the person who had Vance's blasting cannons, like, of, you know, Vance's blasting cannons fame.
Yeah.
His full name is Ripley Vance.
Really?
Yeah,
Ripley
because it's at the
Vance.
bottom of Spitfire Bastion. Now, instead of a ship,
Oh, yeah.
Ripley Vance commands a fortress. Ripley Vance.
Ripley Vance. Man, if you don't own a fortress or command a fortress and your name is Ripley Vance, I don't know what you're doing. Honestly.
I think it just sounds like the front man for an 80s band.
All right, well, Rivals Ixalan just around the old corner. We've got our first look at some of the cards from this set. Now, of course, we already saw some of the cards that are kind of more of the F&M promo cards, Gulta Primal Hunger, and Silvergill Adept. So we do know that those are already in the set. But we've got a new one that we just saw the other day, Vona's Hunger. It is 2 and a black for an instant, and it's got a lovely, I guess that's Vona on the front. Vona's surrounded by like a yellow golden light. Vona, our vampire friend, and it has a new
the
keyword.
golden light of Orazka itself.
Ascend. If you control 10 or more permanents, you get the city's blessing for the rest of the game. What the heck does that mean? But we're gonna find out. Each opponent sacrifices a creature. If you have the city's blessing, instead, each opponent sacrifices half the creatures he or she controls, rounded up.
Nice. Pretty
Wow,
solid.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, I like the idea of Ascend, and it's kind of pretty flavorful with finding the lost city or whatever. And I guess if you find it, you get the blessing of the city or something like that, question mark.
That makes sense. It's a powerful magical force.
Yeah, it's pretty cool
I
because...
said that like a ghost.
10 or more permanents. How difficult is that in an average game of Magic?
I mean, lands count.
Right.
So I think it's achievable. It's not easy, but it's achievable for sure.
Yeah, right. So this is a rare, by the way. I didn't say that. No matter what, they're gonna sacrifice 1 for 3 mana, which isn't a terrible rate.
Yeah, absolutely not. I mean, like, you would play this card anyways. I think, especially at instant speed, is pretty good.
Right, instant speed, very important here. If half the creatures he or she controls rounded up. Yeah, I mean, like, it's good because it scales with the game, so this mechanic seems like, you'll get something early on, which will just be the normal sort of rate you would pay for a card, and then you get a special extra bonus version of the card if you've managed to achieve Ascend.
Yeah, it's kind of nice because it's sort of like, oh yeah, if you're casting this later, you're more likely to have Ascend. And if you have Ascend, you're gonna, in this case, you're gonna get a lot more value out of this sucker. It's pretty sick.
Wonder, this kind of makes me wonder if there'll be other cards in this set that deal with permanents from the player that normally we wouldn't be able to deal with as easily. Like, I'm thinking of something like a crazy, like, land destruction.
Ooh, you want some land destruction up in here?
I mean, Megan, I've told you I've been playing Legacy, and it has whetted my appetite to blow up lands. You're getting
wastelanded a little bit up in there?
Yeah. I've definitely been wastelanded, and I have wastelanded. And turns out I like it. I like the feeling of destroying land.
Maria.
I know. It makes me very...
monster.
It's very evil. It's a very evil thing to do in Magic.
It really is an evil thing to do.
Some would say it's as evil as countering somebody's spell, but I don't know. But
what? Countering someone's spell is not evil. It's just.
It's just.
That's right. That's right.
But yeah, this card seems pretty cool. I'm interested to see what other things we're gonna get from Ascend moving forward, and how
too.
It comes into play and how it matters. And I mean, like, treasure is gonna be a thing again in Rivals of Ixalan. I can only imagine, and that's a way to up your permanent count kind of on a faster clock than you might normally be able to.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I didn't actually think about it, but with treasure, like, Ascend seems certainly more achievable earlier.
Yeah. Cool.
So that's pretty. That's
cool. I'm excited about that, and just sitting here looking at some of these previews again, I almost forgot about Gulta Primal Hunger. How could I forget? Right. Card's freaking sweet.
12. Nice.
Just a 12.
And in fact, speaking of previews and how they, they get started in earnest after the first of the year, this Wednesday, so tomorrow, if you're listening to this on Tuesday, we're going to have a video up that talks about our ideas of what might be coming. It's our, as you say it, our Ixalan Predixalons.
Yes, Ixalan Predictions. We're going to take a stab at what we think is going to happen in Ixalan. And if you remember, we did normal Ixalan Predictions before Ixalan, and we were pretty right on a lot of stuff. Not to toot our own horn, but toot. Guess what, everybody? It's time for story time with Megan.
That's right. So, last time we left off was in the middle of the Ixalan story. And we know that, Vraska's captain of this sick pirate ship, and Jace doesn't know who he is, and everybody's looking for Araska. Huatley's there. There's Angrath, the giant minotaur, who's, also stuck there and also mad and looking for stuff. And then there's all the merfolk, and who are also gonna go look for stuff, because Kumena was like, do you know what? I'm gonna go to Araska, and I'm gonna harness the power to make sure nobody else does. And then some of the better merfolk were like, that's not how it works. So that's that gets us caught up with what we talked about last time.
All right, what's the new haps in the Magic Story Time?
Okay, so the new haps is that Jace and Vraska are like besties right now. And Vraska and like they just talk about Ravnica, and Vraska tells Jace about Ravnica, and also that the Azorius there were real effed up to her and the other Golgari, and that's messed up. And so she's sort of like, oh, this sad stuff happened. And Jace is like, I'm sorry, I think you're great now. And she's like, oh, that's nice. I think that you're great now also.
Is she like telling him that he's a planeswalker? I mean, does he understand that?
She didn't tell him at first, but then she did just tell him now.
Oh, okay.
Like, she very recently told him. She was like, hey, you know how you try and do that thing sometimes where you try to get away and then you can't? That's planeswalking, and usually you'd be able to go somewhere else, but here you can't, and, there's some sort of enchantment, and also she thinks that whatever magical force is in Araska that they're chasing, it also has the enchantment that's keeping them there.
Oh, okay. Got it.
And then Jace fixes the thematic compass, which is the compass that Nicholas Bolas
Nicholas Bolas
gave to Vraska to help her find Araska when she was on Ixalan. It wasn't working, so Jace, who's like trying so hard to, to be nice and to live up to Vraska's expectations and everything, he actually fixes it. He does still say a lot of annoying sentences. Like, Jace is better, for sure. He's, like, not whiny. He's just, like, trying real hard.
Okay.
But sometimes when he talks, he still does say annoying, long, weird sentences that you're just like, this isn't necessary, Jace. This isn't how a conversation needs to be going right now. But, he's trying real hard. And that's great. And then, so they're looking for the city, but then the merfolk find out, so they wreck Vraska's ship. They summon like a giant storm, and it wrecks Vraska's ship, and it also wrecks Vona's ship, like Vona's giant vampire ship.
Oh man, that ship's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I learned some of the, like, background about Ixalan. So Ixalan is actually the continent that they're all on right now. And there's, I have to remember what the name of the other one was. Like, there's basically, like, the old continent, right? That all of the vampires came from. And that, the Legion of Dusk, which is, like, the vampire order, helped conquer the old continent, which was, let me see.
So Ixalan is still kind of like an island area just off the coast of Ixalan.
It's not like an island area. It's kind of like, right, it is still kind of modeled on, like, the model of, like, hey, the US and the Americas were, like, this big continental region, and then there was Europe and the Europeans who came over.
Yeah.
Like, European...
But the vampires were from there to conquer there?
So the vampires are like the old school conquistadors. In that also they're terrible people.
Well, hashtag vampire.
Yeah, hashtag vampire, hashtag conquistadors, hashtag terrible people. So like they're from this old continent. The old continent of Torrazon was where the Legion of Dusk, like ages and ages and ages ago, they became vampires. They like made a choice to become vampires and to start drinking blood to be immortal.
Wow.
Yeah. And so their story of like the immortal sun that's in Orazca actually used to be on the continent of Torrazon, where they're all from.
Okay.
But then like, and there was kind of like a balance, but then like one of the people from the continent decided that he wanted to claim it for himself. So he went and tried to take it, but then like some giant winged being came and took the immortal sun from him and then took it to Ixalan, right? Took it to this other continent.
Holy
and then there's,
cow.
Yeah. And so there's the saint, Saint Elenda is like the saint of the vampires. Because they're like this big weird religious order actually, right? In the plane of Ixalan, the vampires are this big religious order. And their original saint is Saint Elenda, who became a vampire and then pursued the thing that had taken the immortal sun away. So the vampires
So what's the problem with the immortal sun going away? Are they not immortal or something?
So they're immortal only as long as they drink blood, and if they find the immortal sun, their sort of mythos is that, like, if they find the immortal sun, they'll be able to be immortal without drinking blood.
Wow. That's like all upside vampires.
Yeah, most of them see it. So most of the vampires think of it as a quote-unquote curse, right? They're like, oh, we don't want to drink blood. And in their, like, they only technically drink the blood of what they consider sinners. So it's like criminals and stuff like that, or like the pirates, they feel like they can drink pirate blood because it's like, oh, you're criminals.
So I really hope that we get to see the card of the saint in this set. That would be awesome. Is she like still alive or is she... Okay.
I don't know. Like maybe she's in Orazca. Like maybe she's maybe she pursued it there. Who knows?
Oh man, I'm so excited now.
Yeah, it's like it's very cool. And so. Anyways, yeah, and then, like, Vona is, like, really messed up, because Vona was originally just, like, right, so a long time ago, she took the blood oath, she became a vampire, you know, and she was a big-time conqueror, and then, like, when they conquered all of Torrazon, the old country, she, like, had her own set of land, and she was like, this is boring, so she killed all of the serfs who worked her land, and then the Queen Meralda of Torrazon was like, hey, I want to have, like, a bunch of ships go and try and find Saint Elenda and find Orazca and find the immortal sun. And Vona was like, that sounds like a party. I'm gonna go. So, she's just a big-time murderer.
Wow, Vona. Yeah. Makes sense of their card.
Yeah, Mavrin Fine is like, you see him in the middle of, like, a blood fast, which is where he's not drinking any blood. And he shows up at Adonta the First Fort, and he's like, you know, talking all crazy talk, just like not making any sense. And then they put him in like the holding cells or whatever, and they're like, oh, do you know what? Like, you need to break your blood fast. There's a criminal down here. We're gonna like have the whole ceremony where then you get to, you know, suck the blood of this criminal or whatever. And he just like tears down the wall and, you know, just sucks the guy's blood anyway. Anyways,
wow, that's hardcore.
It's real hardcore stuff. It's like real wild and weird. So that's like, I feel like that's the biggest part of the story that I need to tell you guys, is that you learn a lot of like the mythos and then like also the history of the continent of Ixalan.
So do we know if these vampires can go back from whence they came, or are they also trapped in Ixalan?
No, so Torrazon is just like another continent.
Oh, so it's just on the same plane.
Yeah,
okay,
it's on the same plane as Ixalan. It's just like an old it's the other continent. And as far as I can tell, the Legion of Dusk, which is all of the people who turned vampire, they helped conquer that entire continent.
Wow, I'm super into this. This story with the vampires seems really cool. I want to know more. And it's not just because I want to play them in standard.
Yeah. So now, like, both of those ships were wrecked, right? And so, like, Jace and Vraska are in a boat going upstream trying to follow the compass. Vona is in the jungle stalking them. And then Angrath is there somewhere, too. And then Huatli and Tishana have teamed up. Even though Huatli's people and Tishana and the merfolk, they're like old school enemies. But they're just both like, we need to go protect the city because all of these people are going to go try and find it. And it'll be terrible if they do. So they're teaming up, and they're also trying to find it. Yeah.
Wow, so this is like a race to Araska, huh?
Yeah, it's the race to Araska. It's literally a race.
So this is like the Amazing Race, but like even more amazing.
Yeah, even more amazing. Much higher stakes.
Oh, cool. Well, this story's getting kind of cool. I'm into it.
It's pretty great. I'm enjoying it a lot. I'm wearing my pirate shirt in support.
Meghan's pirate shirt, everybody.
Yes. Pirate shirt. Thank you. So that's Ixalan story time.
That's actually really cool.
Who knows what's gonna happen? Vraska's still keeping the big. She did tell Jace that someone kind of named. I think she called him like Lord Nicholas or something like that, something weird. But she's mostly keeping the secret that this like giant, powerful elder dragon, who's super evil, is what sent her to Ixalan. So that's
okay.
I feel like maybe when she lets that one slip, that's gonna throw a wrench into her and Jace's plans. I also wonder if like Jace ever regains his memories, if he's gonna if he's gonna have a conflict between the better person that he is now and then like the insufferable person that he was before.
Like he's gonna find his way back to the Gatewatch or whatever, and they're gonna be like, oh, it's Jace again. Just get out of here, buy your hair gel, and just go sit in your room. He's gonna be like, no,
Exactly.
you don't understand. I've been friends with the Gorgon. I've been on this pirate ship. I've been in the sun a lot. I've been wearing ripped, cut off jeans, and like, no, Jace, not cut off jeans. But he's like, no, I'm different.
Before we move on to giving you our 2017 in review / looking forward at what's going to come in 2018, we need to stop and thank our newest member of the MTA family, a sponsor that we're so happy to have on board, Ultra Pro.
Ultra Pro, it's the wonderful place where you can go to get everything of the highest quality that you need for your Magic the Gathering addiction. Is that the right word? Hobby, love, desire. You choose.
That's right.
You choose.
You've got cards that you love playing, so why not give them a beautiful home like an Ultra Pro deck box or a binder or sleeves?
What about the most amazing playmat you've ever played on? You can get ones with unstable art on them, and that's something that I am going to be doing because I am super excited about that. That's right. Unstable art on playmats from Ultra Pro. Not only the sleeves, but also the playmats. You can put it all together and like just have a wonderful, squirrel home for all of your stuff. That's amazing. That's what I'm into.
Me too.
Ultra Pro, we couldn't be more happy to have them as kind of our gear sponsor on Magic the Amateuring. Megan's a huge fan of the Eclipse sleeves, and so am I.
They shuffle and with flip cards, like silk.
They shuffle like silk with flip cards in the set. You want to be careful if you're playing in competitive environments that you can't see the other side of the card inside the sleeve, or you might get a judge call. And Eclipse sleeves deal with that in a really lovely way.
Maria.
Yes.
Tell us about what happened in 2017 for you.
Just a look back?
Yeah, What's your word on 2017?
In the magical realm?
Yes. God, let's not talk about anything else.
Okay, great. 2017 was filled with a lot for Magic. I mean, the game, we saw a lot of changes. We saw some really interesting sets pass our way. We had a lot of fun with Unstable. I think that's a huge highlight for me for 2017. I mean, like, we'd never played in an unset before, and that one was just awesome. If you're talking like podcast stuff, I mean, we really ramped up our YouTube channel in 2017, which is something that I think is really, really cool, and I'm super proud of. And
yeah, let's talk about the sets, right? Because do you know what? When we were putting together the Crimby Awards for last week,
Yeah.
The infamous Grimby Awards. I was like, I can't believe Ether Revolt was earlier this year.
I know, right?
That was the first set of 2017, and it just feels like ages ago because so much magic has happened between now and then.
I know, we were sitting there and I was like, Untethered Express, was that really this year?
How could you forget?
I mean, how could I forget the Pain Train? But, I mean, it's just incredible. Time flies when you're having fun and playing Magic, I suppose.
It really does. So we had Ether Revolt, we had Amonkhet, we had Hour of Devastation. Like, just also,
Jeez.
like, one of the most fun draft environments that we've played in ages.
Yeah. And
Like,
we called for the full destruction of a world, and we got it.
That's right. We had been there ever since that we were back on Zendikar. We were like, let's tear this place apart. And you know what? It got torn apart.
And it was beautiful in its own horrific way.
It was in a really terrible, sad, destructive way. Mm-hmm. Wow, what a sight it was.
You know what? We usually make goals for ourselves on the show, you know, and we say, this is what I hope to do before the end of the year. And I was trying to remember what my goal for 2017 was. And I want to say that it was day twoing a constructed, another, or no, I probably said it was day twoing a limited GP, which I didn't achieve, but I also didn't play in that many. But I did day two another constructed GP at Vegas.
You did.
So that was,
and it was
that was
modern. It was a new constructed format for you.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. It was modern. And the one previous had been standard. And then, so I'm going to put on top of that goal, a goal for 2018, which is make day two of an event and cash it.
Nice.
There you go.
Great goal.
Megan's already achieved this goal.
That's true. That's true. Although, so this year, very mediocre GP year for me.
Well, we really didn't get a chance to hit up as many as we did.
It's true. I was certainly hoping to play more of them, but I'm working on finishing up my holiday cards, and like I just love the number of people that we've gotten to know. You know, it's like one of the best things is just like all of the amazing, wonderful friends that we've met playing Magic. It's such a delight. And it feels like it's the best part of it, for sure.
Oh, for sure. Can you believe all these people we would have no idea, you know, we wouldn't know who they are and now we know them and they're like some of the greatest people that we know. Like, what a gift.
It's awesome. It really is. Also, I was thinking about it, like I set the goal of winning a PPTQ, and I did. Yes,
you did.
Woo! Was awesome. And then I top 8'd that RPTQ.
Yep.
So I feel like I'm very, very proud of those accomplishments.
What are you gonna do what are you gonna set for 2018?
I don't know. I gotta think about it.
Okay.
Cause I feel like, I mean, like I definitely want to win another PPTQ. Yeah. I haven't been playing a ton, but I'm hoping to like just make it to more events. Yeah. I think maybe I'm gonna have to think about, like, my goal might be more in terms of like making sure that I'm giving myself lots of opportunities to play competitive Magic, because I do love it so much. But you know, like we do a lot of work to make the podcast happen, and a lot of work to make the videos happen, and then like a lot of work that we do for coverage. And so I think that I often like let myself get caught up in all of that and let the competitive play kind of be the thing that lags. So like just making more time to be a competitive player, because I really love that part.
Yeah, I think that's a great goal. And we've already got plans in the works for, you know, we're thinking about which GPs we're going to hit up in 2018 and that sort of thing. And it's making me super excited, looking forward to playing again and getting my hands on some cards and getting into battle. Hey everybody, guess what? I poke my toe into the waters of legacy of Magic, and I just want to tell everybody a little bit about it. I did it on stream. Some people got to watch me, twitch.tv/Magic the Amateuring, and I'm still going to be doing it in the coming days. And Megan, you were in stream watching me flail around like a fish that's been pulled out of the water and slapped down on the sand as I kind of
that is an adequate way to maybe describe that.
to figure out what I was doing. Because I'm trying to prep for Grand Prix Santa Clara coming up, and first weekend of January, which, by the way, is also going to be home to Loading Ready Run's pre-release for Rivals of Ixalan.
That's right.
So, geez, this stuff is sneaking up on us.
Some super exciting guests. They've got Melissa DeTora, obviously one of our favorite human beings.
Woo!
Chris Van Meter.
Great. Love Chris.
Who makes some of those sick decks that you can get from some of the battle decks from Card Kingdom. Right?
Absolutely.
Author of some of those. Awesome.
Yes.
And then two of the hosts of Magic Mike's, Evan Irwin and Ruben Bressler, right? Am I getting this correct?
That's right.
Yeah. Awesome.
I think so.
So it's going to be sick.
Yeah,
Make
so
sure you
super
tune
exciting.
in. Awesome.
But if you're not tuning in and you want to, and you're like, oh, let's look at some Legacy stuff. Here's the thing. I was terrified, okay? I was terrified of learning Legacy. The same way I remember being terrified of learning Modern. And I think this is kind of just the way that a lot of players who are new to any format, terrified of learning Standard, terrified of learning Draft, or whatever, feel at the very start of learning something. So it's kind of like, when I was in high school, I had a teacher, an English teacher, who drew something on the board the first day of class. It was an AP class, and he was like, here, look at this. And it was a big swirly mess. And he's like, that's what you're going to feel like on the first day of class. But as we continue through the semester, it'll stop getting like all swirly and turn kind of into more of a pure circle until it just feels normal. And that's kind of the way I've described learning a new format in Magic as well.
Teach?
What
English was this?
English.
Yes. I really think that an English teacher should be able to come up with a better metaphor than that one.
Let me tell you, it's helped me a lot in my life when I start something. I'm like, okay, now it's just like a huge jumbled mess of crap, but slowly I have to draw it. It doesn't work if you're not drawing it. It turns into a circle. But anyway, that's how I felt, like a big jumbled mess. And you know what? Once you start to kind of nose around in it, it's really not that scary. The best way that I can say to prep yourself if you're interested in kind of seeing what Legacy is all about is to play some Legacy Cube. And that's honestly kind of what introduced me to the format a little bit, got me familiar with some of the cards that you'll see in Legacy, and maybe not as scared about it going in. But I mean, the truth is, it's an enormous card pool. If you think there's a lot of cards in Modern, well, guess what? Legacy has even more. There's 1 million decks! You can't even... People will say... The best players in the world will say they'll go to a Legacy tournament, sit down, and have absolutely no idea what the person across from them is doing, because there's just so many cards and so many decks that are possible.
Maria,
obviously,
You got turn 1 killed on stream the other day.
Yes, I did. You can kill people on turn 1 in Legacy.
Speaking of the things that you can do in Legacy, or that can happen in Legacy.
Oh,
Maria
I got stormed out.
Stormed on turn 1. It was wild.
It was absurd. I played my land, passed, and they're like, okay, you're dead.
Yeah. That's all that had time to.
It was like, I just sat there and I had to just be, I was in awe. It was like seeing the face of God before me being killed on turn 1 by Storm and Legacy.
Oh my gosh.
Just nutty.
Really something else.
They say Modern is a turn 3 format. Well, I don't know. Is Legacy a turn 1 format? Not quite sure. But that's a good point, because one of the things that kind of defines Legacy is the fact that you have to be doing stuff that is so absurdly powerful and broken and so quickly. Even though the games tend to kind of drag out, if you're not doing something like that early on, as early as turn 1 of the game, you're going to be so far behind the rest that you might as well be dead. Quite honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, you're playing cards like Force of Will. You're playing cards like Daze. Guess what? You don't have to have a single stinking mana in play to counter somebody's spell with those 2 cards. Get out of here.
Nope.
Good grief. You're playing Hymn to Torak. Discard 2 random cards. That's a beating. You're playing Wasteland. Blow up your land. You're playing Brainstorm. You're playing Umezawa's Jite.
Brainstorm, honestly, like one of the least impressive of all the things you just.
I know it is.
One of the least brutal.
Incredibly.
Like, it does a lot of good. It does a lot of impressive stuff, but like in terms of just being completely brutal for your opponent.
Yeah.
Less on the scale.
Here's the deal. Like, it's absolutely absurd, the things that you can do in Legacy, and hopefully your deck is equally as absurd as your opponent's, so you can both be doing the crazy shenanigans. When I sat down to try it out for the first time, it was really blowing my mind how much cards like Daze, Force of Will are so important in this format.
Absolutely.
And you're just able to counter spells, like we said, for nothing.
That's why Force of Will has to be, like, you know, people have said, like, it needs to be in the format, because it's just, like, otherwise there's a chance that with you can just die without forgetting to put a land into play.
Yeah, exactly. But that all being said, I did actually, after I played just a little bit with it, lost almost every game that I played. I found that it was actually pretty fun and very skill intensive and skill testing. It rewards tight play and punishes bad play.
And that's where you start with any format, right? It's like, if you, honestly, even with, like, new decks, like, sometimes when I pick up a new Modern deck that I'm interested in trying, I'll lose so many games in a row.
Yeah.
Like, not even get a game win in. Like, far, like, even less a match win is, like, completely unimaginable. But then, like, as you adapt and as you learn, you know, you gotta give yourself that time. And be forgiving of the fact that it's like, hey, you're gonna lose.
Right.
You're gonna lose. Right. But that's part of the journey of winning.
Part of the journey, indeed. And, it is a very expensive format. Magic Online is one of the cheapest places that there is to play Legacy. That being said, it's still not cheap. But if you're interested, it's going to be scary. It's going to be terrifying. Watch some videos of some decks that you see people playing that you think you might like. There's no aggro deck in the format, really, unless I guess you count.
There's Burn.
Storm or Burn or something. Yeah. But there's no creature aggro deck. I played Death and Taxes because that was kind of like the closest thing, quote unquote. But it's actually a super long grindy matchups most of the time with that kind of deck, even though it looks like kind of like a white weenie deck in disguise. But I don't know, man. There's still so much to learn for me in Legacy. But my overall takeaway was, I went into it just absolutely bone-chillingly terrified, and I'm leaving kind of like, you know what? It's just another format, and it's just some more cards. They're just more powerful than what you're used to, but it still leads to usually interesting and very complex games. Unless you get killed on turn 1 by Storm.
And in which case, oh well.
In which case, #Legacy, #vampires,
hashtag conquistadors, #terrible people.
Hey everybody, thanks so much for listening to our episode this week. I truly hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you've enjoyed listening to Magic the Amateuring throughout all of 2017. If you became a member of the Less Than 1% Club on patreon.com/MTAcast, thank you so much for being a member of our family this year, and we hope that you'll continue to be a member of our family through 2018. January is usually a month that's super hard on content creators, as a lot of people drop off their subscriptions, and while we totally understand if you do, we do hope that you stick around and continue to support the show and what we do.
It really does mean so much to us. Thank you again to our sponsors, cardkingdom.com /MTAcast. It's a great place. It's a great place, period. It's a great place for stuff, but also it's a great place.
Accurate. And thanks, of course, to Ultra Pro for being the gear sponsor of MTAcast. They'll keep your cards safe and your kids safer. Ultra Pro. ultrapro.com.
By kids, we mean your Magic card collection.
Yes, obviously. Magic cards are my children and my cats and my cards. So thanks everybody. Have a great 2017 of what's left of it, and we'll see you in 2018 with some Rivals of Ixalan spoilers coming your way. And don't forget to check out our YouTube channel, youtube.com/MTAcast, for that video of our Rivals of Ixalan predictions of what we're going to see in the set.
Happy holidays and New Year's.
Good night and good draws.
Good draws.